Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and happy birthday, Kentucky. My name is Doug Fain, and I'll be your MC for this afternoon's special concert by the Jessamine Community Band. They are under the direction of Alan Jacobus and Tim Johnson. We ask that you please silence your cell phones and you refrain from any flash photography during the concert. Now, our great Commonwealth of Kentucky is 232 years old today. And we're excited to share with you music written about Kentucky by composers with a Kentucky connection. Now, before there's a state, there has to be a country. And the Star-Spangled Banner is the national anthem of the United States. The lyrics come from the defense of Fort McHenry. It was a poem written back in 1814 by a 35-year-old lawyer and amateur poet, Francis Scott Key. He witnessed the bombardment of Fort McHenry by British ships of the Royal Navy in the Chesapeake Bay. And that was during the Battle of Fort McHenry in the War of 1812. And the flag that was mentioned in the poem had 15 stars and stripes to commemorate the state of Kentucky becoming a part of the Union on June 1st, 1792. The poem was set to the tune of a popular British song written by John Stafford Smith, and it was already popular in the U.S. It was set to Key's poem and renamed the Star-Spangled Banner. And it soon became a well-known American patriotic song. And although the poem only has 4 stanzas, we usually only sing the first one today. The Star-Spangled Banner was officially made our national anthem by a congressional resolution, and that was on March 3rd, 1931. So at this time, would you please stand as we open today's concert with our national anthem. Now, I might have told you that Kentucky became a state in 1792. Well, 6 years later, there became the 36th county in the state, and that was Jessamine County, Kentucky. 1798 was when we were incorporated. And it's quite unusual to have a piece that is written about a specific area in which the band is located. Well, today we not only have 1, but 2 pieces that were specifically related to Jessamine County. The first you're going to hear is called Jessamine Station Overture, and it was composed by James Curnow back in the fall of 1975. It was written specifically for the Jessamine County Junior High School Band and its director, Alan Jacobus. In his notes on the score, Mr. Curnow notes, quote, "A descriptive overture depicting the beautiful, rugged countryside along the Jessamine Station Road that runs through Jessamine County, Kentucky." Now, this piece premiered in the spring of 1976, and it was actually recorded and preserved on vinyl during the spring concert presentation over at George Rogers Clark High School in Winchester. Now, an interesting fact about that, you may find it interesting, I was actually in that band that played in that concert at the ripe old age of 13. In the audience, would you like to guess what instrument I played? The sousaphone. Well, I could hardly lift it today, but I'm very proud to be a part of that recording, and I'm very proud to be able to hear that again today. James Curnow, 1975, Jessamine Station Overture.
And that's exactly how I remember it. Another great song that James Curnow wrote that particular year was called the High Bridge March.
It was composed as a musical tribute to one of Jessamine County's treasures. Now, High Bridge was opened in 1876. It was the first cantilever bridge in North America. And when it was built, it was the tallest railway bridge in the world. Standing 275 feet over the river between the Palisades, it first carried both passenger and freight trains. The American Society of Civil Engineers has designated it as a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. Now, the 1876 bridge was replaced in 1911 by a more robust bridge in the same place. That's the current bridge that's there now, and it stands 300 feet above the river. Freight trains from the Norfolk Southern Railway still use that bridge several times every day. Conducting this song, High Bridge March, is our conductor, Tim Johnson.
Now, a couple of interesting facts about Kentucky. It was the first state west of the Appalachian Mountains. And although our capital is now in Frankfurt. The first capital was in Danville. Also, the state constitution was written and signed in that city. Another song that we're going to hear today about Kentucky is called Kentucky 1800. It was published in 1955 by Claire Grunman. And Claire's masterful settling in early American folk tunes, an ageless classic, and has long been a staple of contest and festival literature of concert bands. Now, this piece is based on the tunes of 3 American folk songs: The Promised Land, Cindy, and I'm Sad and I'm Lonely. Those are melodies that are reminiscent of the years the pioneers were forging westward. It's a tone poem in which the thematic material is treated in great depth and with variety. A little bit about Claire Grunman. Born in 1913 in Cleveland, Ohio, and during his lifetime, he wrote more than 100 compositions for school, university, and professional bands. And since today's concert is all about Kentucky, Mr. Grunman's connection to our state is that one of his first teaching jobs was in the early 1930s. He was the band director at Henry Clay High School in Lexington. So presenting now the Jessamine Community Band from Claire Grunman is Kentucky 1800. You know, Kentucky has a rich and unique history, and back in June of 1774, James Herod, 37 men along with him, claimed the territory of what now is Mercer County, right across the river from us. The first English settlement west of the Allegheny, called it Herodstown. Of course, we know it as Harrodsburg. And another interesting fact, the Battle of Blue Licks took place in Robertson County here in Kentucky. That was actually the last major conflict of the American Revolutionary War. And it took place in 1782, August 19th. Now, our history goes back further than that. It dates back in the 1670s when English settlers sent explorers from Virginia to survey the frontier. And as Eastern Kentucky became the starting point for many westward migrations, pioneers settled in the Appalachian and Cumberland Mountains, creating a wonderful array of a culture that included language and crafts and all kinds of music. The Kentucky Mountaineer helped to propagate a proud heritage of traditional ballads and other Scottish and English folk songs that had been brought to America by their ancestors. Now, during the early part of the 20th century, Josephine McGillan and Lorraine Wyman each traveled through the Cumberland Mountains and transcribed words and melodies for over 200 songs. In their collections, there was 5 tunes used in this setting that we find: John Riley, The Lonesome Scenes of Winter, Sourwood Mountain, Froggy Went A-Courtin', Loving Hannah. They're all masterfully combined to give us a glimpse into the musical heritage of those pioneers who forged our great state. And they're woven into this, what we call Songs of Old Kentucky. It was actually written during the fall of 2005 by Brant Carrick for the Kentucky Music Educators Association District 9 All-District Band. And Mr. Carrick was born down in Bowling Green. He holds degrees from the University of Louisville, WKU, and Louisiana State University. He taught at Beechwood High School at Fort Mitchell, Bowling Green High School, and Northern Kentucky University, where he held until his retirement in 2022. From Brant Carrick, this is Songs of Old Kentucky. We got a lot to be proud of about in Kentucky, and a few things I want to tell you about, just some trivia that you may not know, and you might. The Jif plant in Lexington, the world's largest peanut butter producing facility in the world. Did you know that? Did you also know that Kentucky has more resort parks than any other state in the nation? Middlesboro is the only United States city that's built inside a meteor crater. Did you know that Post-it notes are made exclusively in Cynthiana, Kentucky? And did you know that the first commercial vineyard in America is not in California? No, it was right here in Jessamine County, Kentucky. It was established in 1799 by John James Dufour from Switzerland. The land was surveyed by Daniel Boone. Dufour incorporated the winery. His attorney was Henry Clay. The Kentucky Vineyard Society was the first incorporated business in Kentucky. The land where that first winery now sat is now the site of the first vineyard winery down on Sugar Creek Road. It's on the National Historical Register. So some things to be proud about in Kentucky. Of course, there's a lot more things that we can be proud about as well. Well, this song is called Kentucky Pride, and let me tell you a little bit about the person who wrote it. John Edmondson. Now, he was born in Ohio, up in Toledo, but he made his way to Kentucky to work on a master's degree at the University of Kentucky. He taught public school for 10 years in the central Kentucky area, many of those over in Clark County, where he wrote a lot for his own students. And during the same time, he freelanced as a writer for a lot of university and high school bands, including 7 years as the staff arranger for the University of Kentucky Wildcat Marching Band. Now, following his teaching career, he was the director of public music publications for Hanson Publications down in Florida, and he was the director of concert band publications for Jensen Publications, adding several new works to his growing catalog. Now, he is known throughout the world, more than 700 publications in the field of band and educational music. His contributions to the literature are accessible, enjoyable to perform, and exciting to hear. And perhaps more importantly, his music has helped train many, many young musicians of today. We're so very proud of the state that we live in, and I think the author Jesse Stewart said it best. He said this, quote, "I take with me Kentucky, embedded in my brain and heart, in my flesh and bone and blood. Since I am Kentucky and Kentucky is part of me. If these United States can be called a body, then Kentucky can be called its heart." The Jessamine County Community Band closes its Kentucky Statehood Celebration Concert with a rousing march from the pen of John Edmondson. And after the original march theme is first stated, it's juxtaposed with "My Old Kentucky Home," our official state song. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jessamine Community Band under the direction of